Um, it really makes me think like, we run into this ourselves. It's being intentional about putting time aside to look at the big picture. I know we do try to make time to do that ourselves every week, where we look at the big picture in different areas of the business operations and talk about how do we improve things. Um, and I think that in order to in order to run a successful company, you have to do that. And I also recognize from experience that the daily grind and the workload of running a business and making the managerial decisions, that in of itself can take up all of your time, just going from project to project, task, 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 and it's never ending and ongoing. So yeah, I think being deliberate about setting aside some time as a management team, within your different departments, within the company itself, and going like, okay, where are some things, what's a project we can pick where we can improve something? Where are some things where we think there's opportunities for improving efficiency, for improving
Yeah.
productivity? Just being deliberate about it, I think, is really important. And I would, no, I wouldn't imagine. I know from my experience working at companies where, you know, I would say that innovation goes to die versus companies where they are highly innovative and highly growth oriented and they're excelling. Those companies that are excelling are always having the conversations around the big picture, around productivity, around technology, around improving operations, procedures, training, performance, education of their employees, resources for their employees, etc. And the ones where it's like innovation is going to die, it's the place where innovation goes to die. They're not doing that. They're not doing that, and they're more using the crude tools where they're dependent on what the economic circumstances are, and they're using the crude tools of throw more resources at it when times are good and money's flowing, and then lay a whole bunch of people off when times are
Take
not.
away those resources.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's easy to add resources, easy to remove resources. It's hard to, to build up your human resources, right? To actually, make those individuals, better workers, better employees, and improving those roles. And I think that being deliberate about it is one of the most important things. I think from our experience, for sure, it's like you take any one of these, and I feel like we've been improving them over the last little while. When you look at, and hopefully learning from our mistakes, learning from our special situations, coming up with better ways to handle all these, because you really do realize like when these happen, and let's say, we dealt with a mistake in a special situation recently, and you realize just the amount of effort it takes for the members of the team that need to do it, and the amount of time it takes. It's sort of that feeling like we could be doing so many other things if this wasn't happening right now, or if we could address this in a much faster way. And I think all of the little mistakes can just add time to it, and you're realizing like you really need to think about uh, how do you measure productivity within your company, but also within your department. For us, it might be the number of clients that we serve. It might be the number of new LMSs we spin up, or it could also be the number of features that we're putting out every month, or the number of fixes or improvements that we're putting out every month. I think, each of these are different ways that we can measure our productivity. And ultimately, it is the bottom line. It is, how much money you're making. But I think all of these things, the number of LMS projects we complete, upgrades we complete, improvements we make to the system, they all add to our bottom line. And every hour you could be working on something. And when you have mistakes, when you have special situations, when you have admin time, this is all time that's eating into our own personal productivity. We're
yeah.
waiting for somebody to do something when maybe we could have done that ourselves, or we're dealing with something because of a mistake made a few weeks ago, and now we're losing hours just dealing with that. Or, our procedures, this one I feel like goes back a long ways, where it just feels like these procedures, they feel weird. And you have to take that time as leadership, and you have to take the time to look at it. And I would say tools as well. I think the tools that we choose to use, I think also makes a big difference in the product that we end up putting out, and how fast we can put those products out. And just finding those little innovations, each one is just saving you time. It's saving you mistakes, which also save you time. And I feel like there there's just so much more that we can do as a company, to look at our own productivity. And these would be the first places that we would look. And I think being deliberate about it and saying, is the way that we're doing things, is this actually, the way we want to keep doing things? And I think that helps you kind of be deliberate and make decisions a little bit closer. And I think, in a time where we have a productivity crisis, it's worth looking at because it takes brain power and it takes time, but it actually doesn't take that much money.